Hey, welcome. Today, we're diving into how the food on your plate, even the fuel in your car, is part of this massive, ongoing story about the transformation of our planet. It's something called land conversion, and believe me, it's reshaping everything from the forest we can see to the soil hidden right under our feet.
It sounds like a huge question, right? But let's bring it right back to you. Just think about the last meal you had. Every single part of it, every ingredient, started its journey on a piece of land somewhere. And the story of that land, well, that is the story of our planet's transformation. So let's get into it.
All right, so first things first, we need to get a handle on the one core idea that's driving all of these changes. So, what exactly is land conversion? At its heart, it's pretty simple. It's when we take a natural space, a forest, a grassland, maybe a wetland, and we change it to serve a human purpose. That could mean clearing land for a massive soy farm, planting a forest just for timber, or even building a solar farm. This one process, this one idea, is the engine behind some of the biggest environmental shifts of our time. So let's kick things off with the one form of land conversion we all know about, deforestation. When we picture a forest being cleared, we often think about the loss of trees, which is obvious, but the impact goes so much deeper than that. A really great way to think about this is to picture forests as the planet's carbon banks. For centuries, they've been doing this amazing job of pulling carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and locking it away safely in their wood, their leaves, their roots, what scientists call their biomass. But here's the thing, when those carbon banks are broken open, the consequences are enormous. All of that stored carbon gets released right back into the atmosphere. And to put that in perspective, deforestation alone accounts for a staggering 10 to 15% of all global CO2 emissions every single year. I mean, that's right up there with the emissions from every car, truck, plane, and ship on the entire planet combined. And the story doesn't even end with carbon. Taking out forests also fundamentally messes with how water moves through an ecosystem. You see, trees aren't just standing there. They're active weather makers. They literally create their own local climates. So here's how this crazy feedback loop actually works. Trees pull water up from the ground, and then they release it as vapor. It's a process called evapotranspiration. That creates humidity, it creates clouds, and that leads to rain. So when you chop down the trees, you're basically turning off the region's natural sprinkler system. The air gets drier, rainfall drops, and then it becomes even harder for new plants to grow back. You get locked into this really vicious cycle. Okay, so if cutting down trees is the problem, then the simple solution must be to just plant more of them, right? Well, it turns out that how you plant them is just as important as the fact that you're planting them at all. It really comes down to a critical choice. On one hand, you have diverse reforestation. This is where you try to recreate a natural, resilient forest with lots of different native species. It's fantastic for wildlife, great for long-term soil health. But on the other hand, you have monoculture tree farms. Think vast plantations of just a single fast-growing species. And yeah, they can suck up carbon very quickly. But that often comes at a huge cost to biodiversity and soil health. It's that classic trade-off, isn't it? A quick fix versus a lasting cure. And that difference between a quick fix and a lasting solution often comes down to what's happening underground. So let's shift our focus from the treetops down to the ground beneath our feet. Because the soil is this huge and honestly often overlooked part of the whole story. I want you to meet Chernozem, also known as Black Earth. This is legendary stuff. These soils, which you find in natural grasslands like the steppes of Eastern Europe, are just incredible. They're unbelievably fertile, and they are packed with organic carbon that's been building up for thousands of years, which makes them a massive carbon store all by themselves. But of course, that incredible fertility is exactly what makes them a prime target for agriculture. And the moment a plow breaks through that native grassland, all those thousands of years of stored carbon get exposed to oxygen. That kicks off this rapid decomposition, and suddenly that locked-away carbon starts escaping into the atmosphere as CO2. And when you look at the before and after, man, the consequences of that conversion are stark. You're not just swapping out one type of plant for another, you are fundamentally downgrading the entire ecosystem. I mean, as this shows, a natural grassland is a high performer across the board. But when it becomes intensive farmland, the soil's ability to store carbon, to hold onto water, and to provide diverse nutrients just plummets. You're effectively turning a living, breathing system into a depleted, fragile one. So, we've seen carbon released from forests, we've seen it released from soils, and we've seen how complicated it is to try and put it all back. It really paints a picture of a world in a super delicate balancing act. So, where do we go from here? What does a positive step actually look like? Well, sometimes smaller, smarter ideas can make a huge difference. There's this powerful example from a field called agroforestry, which is all about integrating trees into farm systems. Take shelter belts. They look simple, just rows of trees around fields, but their impact is huge. They act as a windbreak so precious topsoil doesn't blow away, they help keep moisture in the ground, and they slowly build up organic matter, all while acting as their own little carbon sinks. It's a fantastic example of working with nature instead of against it.
So, when we pull it all together, a really clear picture starts to emerge. Every single choice we make about how we use our land involves a critical trade-off. Things like deforestation and grassland conversion, they create a huge deficit for both the climate and the water cycle. A quick fix, like planting a monoculture, might look good on paper for a little while, but it comes with some serious long-term ecological risks. It's really only that diverse, thoughtful reforestation that seems to be a clear win for the entire system. Ultimately, the way we use land is just a reflection of our priorities, what we value more, whether it's food or fuel or nature. What's become crystal clear is that none of these choices happen in a vacuum. Every single one tips the scales of our planet's health either for better or for worse. So the real question for all of us is, which way do we want that balance to shift?